Happy Devil's Sunday. You guys still awake?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just waiting for your intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, seriously.
I wasn't sure if the screen froze because you guys were like statues. Probably on your phones reading up on the New York Football Giants and their big victory today.
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
Oh,
but let me get
gosh.
through the monologue before we start.
All right. You do that, then we'll talk.
Yeah, we're coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios at Short Skies High Point Mountaintop Studios. Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal. His beautiful lifestyles of the rich and famous. Estates in Beverly Hills, California.
Palatial Estates in
Palatial
California.
Estates.
Yeah,
Palatials.
I'm supposed to purposely not say that so you guys can remind the folks that Scotty is a top 1%er in his field.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Baller.
Right.
and his
Baller.
Yeah.
bank account.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting.
Those-
I'm forgetting that guy that's sitting on the top of the mountain with the nice view.
I don't care if you call me and crew today. You can call me whatever you want. You can call me Big Blue, baby. I'm riding high right now. I'm
Yeah.
buzzing.
Don't
feeling
forget
good
Ann's
right
crew. Don't forget
And
Ann's
crew.
crew.
And
And
now. Crew's
crew.
feeling good. And crew's feeling mighty good.
And crew's had a couple beers tonight.
Nah, just this first one. I've been
Ah.
behaving. Just the
Right,
first
dead
one.
air. Dead air. Love it.
Yeah, well, I had to take a sip. You told I had to wet the whistle and get ready. Listen, man, I'm just feeling good. It's a good sports weekend for us. Devils look great. Looked awesome last night, and really stuck it to the Kings. There's a point in that game where I was nervous, and that was just when the puck was dropped. And then from that point on, I knew we were going to be a team of destiny that night. Even though they did go down 1-0, Eric Holla scores a goal. And when that happens, good things happen.
Anything can happen.
where did we hear
Anything is possible.
Where do we hear all these great predictions, Beer Baron? I thought Game Day Live had many predictions. If you were betting on Beer Baron's prediction and my prediction, you would be worth more than the Mega Millions that was won the other day.
All I know is that I said the Jaguars were going to win that game when they were down 27-0, and Trevor Lawrence threw that fourth pick. I said to you on live, because the only way we do it.
Yep.
On live air that they were going to find a way to come back and win that game. And I thought it was either somebody in the YouTube group or something that predicted Hollow was going to score a goal. But we had a lot of predictions that were going around yesterday that came to fruition. So,
Why don't we?
I was the one that predicted Holla.
oh, okay. Then you.
Yeah. By the way, Martin Rosario, thank you for letting us have a super chat. Canes and Rangers drop points today. You wanted
Yeah,
to
buddy.
Put that out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin.
We're talking about this game yesterday, which we all loved. But why don't we get some thoughts on someone? I believe Scotty, you were actually at the game yesterday, weren't you?
Ooh, yeah.
Actually, I was not. I had a little ticket snafu action happen. So yeah, I was at the Ducks game, but I wasn't at the Kings game. Unfortunately, everyone was wondering how I got back to my apartment, and I was just a little annoyed that I didn't actually make it out there. So,
All right. Well,
yeah, but just had a little ticket snafu yesterday. So, what can you do? Yeah, what can you do?
why don't you give the listeners a little bit of recap of your night on Friday then, since we haven't gathered as the official Let's Go Devils podcast since last Sunday?
Yeah,
Oh,
true.
well, Friday was amazing. I mean, I was, I don't know, maybe like 15 rows from the ice, which was great. And, it's kind of like the difference in on the East Coast of going to like a Devils game and a Rangers game. You can pay for, a certain amount and you could be 15 rows from the ice at a Devils game, and you could pay that same amount and you would be in the last row of the upper decks in a Rangers game. So that's kind of the difference of going to like a
You'd
Ducks
be in
and a
the
Kings
parking
game.
lot. They don't even have a
Yeah,
parking lot.
basically. It's the same way as it works out here. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the Devils and their play. I love my boy Nikita Ahoytuk getting a goal,
buddy.
getting a lot of hits.
You were I was listening to the game. I was listening to the game on the radio driving through the city last night, coming home from a show, and as soon as he scored, Scotty, you're the first person I thought of. I was like, Scotty's boy, what a goal! You're the first. I think that's the first thing that popped in my mind.
I think everybody in the group chat also chimed in with that one's for you. So
yeah, I mean, I've been big on that guy, but I just love what he brings, like on the physical presence, which obviously we've talked about for such a long time that's really been missing on this team. But he is starting to get more and more comfortable out there. You don't see him making a lot of blunders. Good. Yeah, you don't see him making a lot of blunders. He's responsible with the puck, and I think his speed is going to surprise some people. I know it's surprising me how fast he actually is out there on the ice. And he's a physical player. And I think against Anaheim, he had like 8 hits. I don't know how many hits he had last night against the Kings, but just he's a force out there, and he just looks like he's getting more and more comfortable each and every game. And I like what I see with them. And we talked about on Devils After Dark, a lot of these guys, the clock is ticking because Nathan Bastian's going to be coming back. John Marino's coming back soon. Once those two get back in a lineup, those open spots are going to close up real fast. So now is the time for them to make, an impression on the management team because, I don't think any of us are dummies. There is someone on the defensive side who might be traded by the deadline.
Or
so
sooner.
There might be, sooner. You never know. And there's some forwards as well, some older forwards on the team who are playing very well. I don't know what's going to happen there, but definitely one defenseman in particular who happens to be the favorite of the king of the football, calls himself Sam Wu, who might be on the block, who might be traded there before.
What are you going to get for him, like compensation for him, though? I mean, he hasn't played an NHL game this year, so you're not really going to get much for him. But you could package him maybe with somebody else.
Who are you talking about?
Are we talking about
Janssen? Are you talking about Andre?
No.
You mean the guy who's
I totally
like
you
threw
me. No, you threw me with the football analogy. And
are you sure this is your first beer?
Yeah, but it's really strong. So
Damon Severson is who I was speaking of. On the forward side, Thomas Tatar might be someone who is attractive for other teams, possibly making a playoff push because it's the end of his contract. So I don't know if you're going to bring him back at his age. You may not want to let him walk for nothing. You probably could get some stuff for him. And also, we talked about it last night. San Jose, the next game they play, is a team that is on the rebuild, and our former assistant coach Mike Greer is now the GM, and that is somewhere that we may be able to. We have a lot of prospects, and maybe somewhere we're able to make some sort of swap because they're looking for good young talent and draft capital, which the Devils have been stockpiled on for numerous years now. Mackenzie Blackwood, as well, with the emergence of Vitek Vanacek as your solid number one. You've been seeing what Akira Schmidt has been doing in his call-ups. By the way, Nico Dawes is the only Utica Comet to be an all-star in the AHL. So you have some depth at goaltending. Is Mackenzie Blackwood someone that could be being showcased right now? He had a strong game against Anaheim, right? Did he play? No.
He played last night.
Last night against LA. I'm sorry. Against LA, which is a tough team. So, there's some moves that could happen that could open up some spots. But, the rumors are by the end of January, we should definitely probably have Bastian back, and Marino should be right around the corner after that as well. So I think the trade deadline is somewhere mid-February, right?
Nope, March
3rd.
March 3rd.
Oh, it's March 3rd? What am I thinking?
Yes.
I thought it was in the middle of February.
Yeah.
My bad.
It used to be a long time ago, February 26th. No, I'm probably wrong
Maybe
about
that's
that.
what I
Anyways,
was-
I'm going to
Either
fast
way.
forward to the NHL All-Star game, though, which is February 3rd. So it's an exact, like a month
Oh, maybe that's what I was
prior.
thinking, the All-Star game or something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Super
And
Skills is the 3rd, and the All-Star game is the 4th. So,
and I wonder if there's going to be any kind of movement prior or maybe post All-Star game. I don't know. I just feel like the team, if they can start putting some, so if they beat San Jose and they come home and they're starting to really get hot again, I don't think you want to really tinker with the team, right? Just leave it alone. If the team's doing well, just let it roll. Why take anything out of it, and why try to do anything different? But the faster you approach that trade deadline, no matter how good you're doing, if you think you can make the team better, you go ahead and pull the trigger. So, looking at some of those pieces,
you're going to re-sign? Do you think you're going to re-sign Severson? I don't know. I don't know if I see that.
That's
on
the thing
team.
is, I highly doubt that they're going to re-sign Severson only because of what they have coming up the pipe. That's it.
Right. So
if they didn't have Nemeth Hughes and you're not going to
let him walk then for nothing. So
you're not going to, or you would hope they're not going to let him walk. But Tatar, I'm going to have to disagree. Go ahead, Sid. Sure, Scott.
I was going to bring up the same thing. Like Tatar, I feel like he's been a really key forward in the last couple of weeks. I know last year he didn't produce a lot, but I feel like this year he's producing much more, and he's much more involved in the offense. He's more important to keep around than I would say Severson. I think Mackenzie Blackwood. Last night's game showed again the absolute question mark that is Mackenzie Blackwood, because I go back to the game against Carolina. He makes that bumble playing the puck play, and then he does really well, and then he comes out last night against the Kings, who are a good team, and he looks phenomenal. He makes that penalty shot save. He looked super strong last night. It's the quandary that is Mackenzie Blackwood. But last night was also a great game. If you're looking to showcase him and potentially move him to someone like, let's say, a Vancouver that needs a goaltender, that would be that's the type of game you want him to have, so you can do that. But again, if the Devils don't move him and we have a goalie like Vanacek and a goalie like Blackwood that can pull those types of games out, I'm good with that combination as well. So we have a good problem at the goaltending position, which we haven't had in a while. But at Severson, I could see being trade bait. Tatar, not so much. And Blackwood, it kind of pulls at the heartstrings a little bit for me, because I love him as a goalie. He wears number 29 like I do. And when he plays and he's on his game, man, like last night, he's a fantastic goalie. And I would hate to see him go and do that for somebody that's not us.
Tatar is the same kind of thing, though, as Severson, where he's going to be UFA after this. So do you think they're going to bring him back next year?
Whether they bring him back, I'm not quite sure. I think he's playing well enough to at least earn himself one more year with the team. But I want to say that he's producing to the point where you would almost be afraid to take him out of that spot for fear of what it would do for the rest of the forward mix and the offense. I just feel like he's doing so well that it may be one of those things where you just don't want to take him out unless you know that whoever you're going to bring in his replacement is going to fit, because he seems like he's fitting in and doing very well and producing right now, and I would hate to lose that.
But then you also, if you don't re-sign him, then, you let him, you kind of lose that asset for nothing.
You do, but I think I would, if you were giving me the option.
He's something you probably should fetch you something, though, too, in return.
I agree. He could definitely fetch you something. However, if I'm looking at it, if it's, leaving that mix that's working together and have a good long potential run towards a cup, or trading him and maybe screwing that mix up and not having that there for a playoff run, I just think having that what's working now and hoping that it continues to work to really push us as close as we can come to a Stanley Cup, I would almost rather keep that chemistry going, unless it's a fit that Fitzgerald just knows is going to work. I would hate to lose. Basically, I don't want to lose him for the possibility of something that might work. I would be okay if they're going to trade him for someone that they know will work with this team, because the chemistry he seems to have right now and the way he's producing, I'd much rather have that going towards a playoff run than the potential of screwing that up by bringing someone new in.
Yeah, but that's also like a catch-22, because you want the chemistry to work, but if you feel like you can add that one piece that's really going to help this team, like you don't want to.
Yeah,
you don't want to be gun shy. Yeah, you don't want to be gun shy, because you don't want to be like, oh, we can't do this move, because if we take this piece out, it could rock the boat. But at the same time, like you said, I think the most important thing is Fitzgerald seems to be pulling the right strings with this team for the last couple of years. When you look at the defensive pieces that he's put together, you look at the forwards that he's brought in, he's putting together a team that he feels plays well together, and it's coming to fruition. Like everything he's been doing has been working out thus far. When this team is healthy, they're quick, they're dangerous, they're big on the back end, and I feel like if he's going to make a trade, I don't think he's one of those knee-jerk, GMs like up, in Toronto. Sometimes you see like they're getting close to a playoff spot, so they'll sell off a bunch of things and try to pull in like one player that they feel is going to like really put them over the edge. You get those teams that really make these big splashes in the free agency market because they're like, this is what we need to get. This is what we need to get done. And a lot of times it doesn't really work out. But I feel like he's on the right track, and I don't think that he's crazy enough to go out there and mortgage the future for somebody like Patrick Kane, or go after somebody that's on an expiring contract. He seems to also like getting people that are on more of a term contract than like a UFA or pending UFA. So I don't know. I feel like he's gonna make the right moves. It's just going to be interesting to see what the possibility is.
It's an interesting conundrum to be in there. I mean, because Tatar for and I'm just talking here just to be the old like devil's advocate, so to speak, because he is on the expiring contract, and he would be enticing to other teams with the production that he's put up. And the thing is, though, he is a really good locker room guy. Like, he's a good leader on this team. You can see that he's got a profound effect on him. But you also do have Palat now that is back. So you have that. And you probably could replace Tatar's production. It's not like he's, stopping the world with his goals and assist totals here. And, he's more of the complementary piece with like a Nico and Jesper Bratt. Or however they're doing the combinations, this week. But I do love the way he gels with all the young players on this team. I think he gives like a really good vibe to them, and I'm wondering if they may re-sign him. Does Fitzy actually re-sign him? Is he one of those veteran forwards that's just such a good guy in the clubhouse that fits so well that, can they re-sign him for a little bit cheaper for maybe give him an extra year if the contract isn't so high, for a player. I got to look how old he is right now. I don't even know off the top of my head how old
28,
he actually is.
I believe 28 or 29.
Oh, that's not that bad.
No way.
No.
Really? He's got to be older than that, I thought.
You think so? I don't know. I'm just pulling that number right out of my butt. No idea.
I'm really, really not
sure.
sure.
And to address what Val said on YouTube, I'm not saying that I don't think
32.
That the Devils...
He's 32.
He's 32.
Whatever.
32.
Yeah. He's not that old.
So you could potentially give him
5.4.
You could if you could give him something that's structured, where both parties are happy, and let's say you give him a 2-year deal. If he's, like you say, he is gelling very well with the young core, and you keep him around. If it's a favorable deal, which I would assume that Fitzgerald would know before the trade deadline, if it's going to be a favorable, if that potential is there, Yeah, bring him back because I do like the way, like you said, that he's gelling and he is giving some secondary scoring, which we're going to need. Those are sometimes those guys. Those are the guys you sometimes need in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the intent. See, and again, I know I've mentioned this before, but these are the intangible things that we're not privy to seeing because we're not in the locker room. We're not, we're not around the team as much as we would love to be. But there may be something with Tatar that Fitzgerald sees, that Lindy Ruff sees, that Jack might like, because it seems like Jack has a pretty loud voice in this organization right now. Eric Holla is that example. It just may be one of those things that
you think Holla is Jack's preference to be on his line, or it's just necessity?
No, I believe that Jack has said that outright. Because I know we've spoken about it, whether here or on Game Day Live or somewhere, that Jack has actually said that he likes playing with Holla, and I'm starting to see that more so now with Holla being more of a defensive forward. He allows that latitude for Jack to go streaking up, to have that kind of safety net behind him, so you don't have to, so that he can go and run and gun, knowing that there's a pretty solid defensive forward that can potentially pick up that slack while Jack is tailing it, hightailing it back into the slot or into the zone. So I'm starting to see more and more and more of why the Holla Hughes combination is actually a positive because of that.
And Tatar, he's got 27 points on the season. Is that something that, you really can replace with someone like a Igor Sharangovich? Moving him up to a more scoring role instead of being down there in the bottom six. You've already seen him have chemistry and perform at that level.
Yeah, but do you trust Igor? Do you trust him to be consistent enough to be on that line?
He's not consistent.
That's the problem.
They have the same.
He'll get hot and then he cool. Yeah, but he will get.
They both
hot
have 10 goals, and Igor's playing in the bottom six, and Tatar's playing.
But does Igor does he push play like Tatar does sometimes?
I think so. On those bottom lines, I think he's been one of the more better players down there as a driving force. He gets streaky with his goals, but if you put him with a Nico and a Jesper, or you put him with Jack Hughes, I think you're going to see a little bit more consistency in that scoring. Mm-hmm. Tatar's got more assists than him. He's got 7 more assists, and he's playing top line minutes. Igor is not doing that. Mm-hmm. So if you give Igor those extra minutes, do you think he could make up those 7 assists? I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Dawson Mercer as well is another candidate.
It could also get Sharangovich's game going back in the right direction. Where I'm not saying he's playing bad hockey, production wise.
No, production wise, yeah, absolutely. He's responsibly defensively, like Tatar.
He is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I think they're almost interchangeable. Don't you think though? You're thinking of like Sharangovich has more upside. This is what I'm getting out of what you're trying to say. Like you feel like Sharangovich has more upside than Tatar has.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just kind of, I don't know. Like by the way, I think Tatar is like plus minus, which somebody just brought up. Dennis, his plus minus is, I think 3rd in the league or something like that, or he's top 10 in the league in his plus minus.
He's a plus 26 right now.
And something I want to address too is Val said earlier that I was saying that
Igor's basically even.
I want to build for next year and making the playoffs this year is not important. No, that's not what I was trying to say. Not to get it twisted around, but making the playoffs and making a deep push into playoffs is extremely important for this team, extremely important for the development of this team, and extremely important for this franchise. Both on the ice and off the ice. Financially, it's huge. If this team can make a deep playoff run, that's the owners would be ecstatic because that's more money in the pocket. That's more money that they're able to spend, so on and so forth. But it's also great for this team in general, their psyche, everything else. Anything that could happen that would be positive for them making a deep playoff run is 100% true. What I was trying to say before about not trying to mortgage the future and not trying to do something crazy is like, I don't think you should at the expense of the team, try to go out and get somebody like a Patrick Kane. Like, if you're going to make a move, you want to be able to put something in place that's going to help you win now, but it also something that's going to continuously help you win. Somebody like Patrick Kane or Tarasenko or some of these bigger names, the big flashy names that people see, is the problem is that they're UFA at the end of the year. So you have to almost guarantee that they're going to sign back. The Devils are a good team right now, but they're not the Boston Bruins. They're not in a position where it's like, yeah, we need that one rental player that's really going to put us over the top and push us, all the way to the Cup Finals. I feel like they're a few pieces away. We have to make sure that Vanacek can hold up the entire year, because right now, up to this halfway point, he's played awesome. The team's played really well. But the problem is it's only half a year. You have to see what happens the back end of the year, because you can't just bank on like, hey, all right, he's played so good so far. There's been plenty of years, plenty of teams that we've seen have great seasons in the first half and then completely just fall apart in the second half. Do I think that's going to happen to the Devils? No. I feel like they become a very consistent team, and I feel like the coaching has gotten a lot better. I feel like the overall play from each line has gotten better. Jack has matured beyond his years. Nico is definitely a Selke. It's got to be on that Selke finalist. This team is a lot better than they were last year. A hell of a lot better than they were 2 years ago. And my point being is just don't go crazy thinking that you need that one piece to try to push it over the top. Like, don't blow it all up just to get that one. So that's what I'm saying.
Don't trade for Michael Grabner?
Yeah, don't pull a Grabner trade. Send the Rangers a second. What is that? Second round pick for him? Something stupid.
And he forgets how to score goals after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I think. Yeah. If with the way this team is on the upswing, and if they wind up keeping Tatar, I think it would. As far as I'm concerned, it should be pretty easy to convince someone to potentially take a pay cut. I don't want to say pay cut, but at least to sign a lucrative deal later in your career to potentially win very soon. Which we do have that possibility in the next 5 years. So. I don't know. I like Tatar. Basically, this is coming from I like Tatar, and I would like to keep him because I think the way he's playing has been a huge positive for this team. So I would like to see him stick around. I would like to see him for the playoff run. I think his experience would be great for the playoff run. But again, we're not being paid a lot of money to make these trades and make these deals and to figure this stuff out. That's Fitzgerald's job, not ours. If we were able to do that, I guarantee the three of us would not be here right now on this podcast.
Then we would be really living like 1% and not in a one-bedroom apartment here. Yeah,
right.
When this camera flips around, there's a completely different side of this story.
There's
here. Hey, look, cool in this little corner over here, but yeah, that's a window unit right here. That's not central air, okay?
Yeah,
and by the way, that corner represents about a fifth of the size of your apartment. So
basically, it does.
Oh, yeah. People would be taking our opinions much more seriously if we were actually in that position and making these decisions. People would also be hating on us a lot more than they already do. So I guess there's a silver lining to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't need that kind of adjunct.
Yeah, seriously. Unless your name is Sam Wu, or Crew, we get off pretty easy here, Scotty.
Yeah,
and Crew. I do have to say, if I would have won that $1.35 billion, it would have thrown my hat in to be a minority owner for the Devils. Though that would have been pretty sweet.
It would have been
minority. Just buy them out. All they're not worth over $1 billion. Give me a break. That'd be the first move I make.
Yeah, but let's not forget though.
I wouldn't want to buy the team too, because that would be that. Then everybody takes a dump all over you for that too, and then
whatever.
Let's not forget.
Be like podcast from the owner suite. Let's do it.
Right. Not only do you have to have the money to buy the team, you have to have the money to operate the team. Just because you have the money to buy the team doesn't mean you have the money to operate the team. So,
No,
It could be
Steven,
a
you'd
quick
see
ownership.
I think it was 9 million or 987 million was the cash out on that, not 400.
That
But
would
still,
be great.
even if you saw 400, like spitting at 400 million, you'd only see 400. Man, 400 would still be pretty nice, man. Come on,
Man, 400 million. That's
chunk of change
generational
right
wealth.
there.
That's generational
Yeah.
wealth.
yeah,
My gosh.
that's a gold tooth, a real gold tooth, right in the front with a diamond in it.
You mean not wearing
And then every
aluminum
time you
foil?
smile, yeah,
Not just.
It's not gold because you haven't brushed it in a while. It's just gold because it's gold.
I'll try if I won the lottery, I'd try to get Ryan Reynolds and Mac to come in and join and be part owners of the Devils. See if I can convince them to, 3 of us. I'll be like, I'll run the show,
Ryan
guys.
Reynolds, Reynolds is apparently going to be part owner of the Ottawa Senators, supposedly.
Possibility, yes, it's a possibility.
Dude, he's looking into everything. Good for him, man.
Yeah, good for
man.
him.
That show is pretty good too, by the way. The Welcome to Wrexham. It is
pretty good. Yeah.
It is. A good one.
I didn't know what it was going to be at first, and then you find out it's like actually a documentary more about like a real team. It's actually really good.
Yeah. Well, and then so I will tell you this from experience. The fans that they have on, that they interview about how, basically everything that their life is taken over by their team. That is absolutely, I can tell you, I have lived and I do live that life. It's true. It's just the way that your team takes over your life like that, and how you basically look forward to that every weekend. I can
look
tell
at
you
the love, Scotty.
Scotty,
Val just suggested on
the bigger apartment.
Let's all chip in.
Thanks, Val. I appreciate that.
But keep in mind, he lives in LA, so that's going to take a lot of chipping in.
Seriously. Yeah,
man. By the way, for everyone who was trying to buy me gas the other night, it was $5.29 at the old pump. So,
oh man, and I got upset when it went from $2.98 to $3.02 the other day. Holy hell!
Yeah.
Well, the cost of living it up in LA, man.
Oh yeah, we don't even get to the taxes portion of it yet. Yeah,
I was just thinking the taxes of California. They're pretty wild.
They're insane.
Yeah. When you go to like your tax guy, he just says, "Just give me your wallet and your debit card, and we'll start there."
I just hope that I break even. That's all I really hope for. I don't even hope for a return or anything like that. I'm like, just come on, break even, come on.
It's like being at a casino.
No whammies, big bucks. Oh, I was at a casino last weekend. Man, I think I left my shirt there too. It was bad. It was bad.
Are there casinos in Phoenix?
Maybe.
I need to look that up. Is there
nowadays? There's like casinos everywhere.
I know. I need to look
that
up.
Casino. There's probably a casino in Scotty's apartment.
There's one not far from here.
About.
Down the highway, yeah, down the old 5. There's a big one, and Max. Last night I didn't use my Mortal Kombat Raiden teleporter or Flash Super Speed. I just had a little ticket snafu, so I actually wasn't at the game. I didn't mention it last night because I was just a little pissed that I didn't end up going. Because just a little ticket snafu though. But whatever. It happens. All good. Got to the Ducks game, so I'm happy. At least I got to see that one. So,
and
the Devils won, so that makes me happy. What's that,
Scotty? Here's a question directly for you.
What's that?
Is Selecta says, is it me or do we sometimes tend to get greedy for other players instead of appreciating the ones we have now? Man, they're showing you the love tonight, buddy. What'd you do?
Man, that's a tough question.
$5 into each person.
Man, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you know what? I mean, when I'm talking about Tatar, I'm just trying to make conversation and stuff like that. It's like I don't really want to see him go. I think Damon Severson is definitely being shopped around. I kind of have a feeling Mackenzie Blackwood and maybe Nolan Foote, who just somehow magically got into the lineup recently, might also be being shopped around because that might be something.
Or they're giving him a shot.
Well, I mean, to the Ducks, who are a rebuilding team, and the San Jose Sharks, who are a rebuilding team. I believe there is a Swiss winger on the Sharks that everyone seems to talk about a whole bunch and a whole lot. So I do appreciate them. And actually, you know what? I was really hard on Thomas Tatar in the beginning of the season. Sam Wu can tell you. I was like, why is this dude even in the lineup? And
he's on a revenge tour this year, man.
Oh, dude, he made me look like an idiot because he's been playing a million times better than he did in those first 10 games of the season. And he really is a piece that gels them together. You can really see it. And if you ever watch any of the little vignettes and videos that they have on social media and stuff like that, like he is just kind of like big bro hanging out, with all the little bros on that team, like when they're getting on the plane, when they're in practice and everything like that. So it's really just a matter of his contract is up, and he is an attractive piece. We've said this before. No one's coming in here being like, what's it going to take to get Jesper Boquist off your hands? They're going to come in and they're going to ask for the people like, a Damon Severson who we've talked about. But Thomas Tatar would probably be, pretty enticing to someone making a playoff run, a team that's maybe a little bit more established than we are right now.
Are we making a playoff run, though? Are we making a playoff run?
No, we are. But, I mean, do you think if we trade Tatar that would get rid of everything? I don't. Because, like I said, I think he can be replaced in a sense of like Igor Sharangovich and Dawson Mercer. You can probably put a big, massive shot of Alexander Holtz on there as well, into the lineup more regularly. So I think he would make or break the bank? No. But if you are another team who is looking for some supplemental scoring and someone to play maybe on your second and third line that can provide some pop, he might be a really good trade deadline acquisition. I don't know. That's going to be up for Fitzy. I think he does, like Shorts Guy says, I completely agree with Shorts Guy, that I think he really gels well with this team. And he does have that big bro, little bros, kind of mentality. You see him there. He's got the nice waft of hair. The guys are always messing around with him and everything like that. But he's just like the chill, big, older brother. And I like that, especially for our team with so many young kids on it. It really, I think, keeps them calm and keeps them, in check. I think him and Palat do a really good job of that. From what I can tell, I'm not in the locker room, so I just watch the games just like you guys do. So it's not – I wouldn't say that we're not appreciating him. We're just trying to make conversation, at the same – this is a podcast. We want to talk. Yeah, we want to get you guys talking. Like we always say, this is just like people, this is just us like chilling at the bar, having a beer, talking about our favorite team. And you're going to come up with these, these ideas and stuff like that.
I think I need to go get another one.
For Tatar, I don't know if we're under, I don't know if it's that we're not appreciating him. It's just the fact of what his situation is. It is what it is. He's going to be a UFA. He's 32 years old. Yeah. He's probably going to be looking for something. At that age, I would think you're going to be looking for something more than just a 1 or 2 year kind of deal. Like those guys try to look for something a little bit more longer. Yeah, it's just what it is. Severson, I know that's why Sam Wu chimed in here because he's ready to, send Damon Severson off to Siberia or something like that. But that's another one that it is what it is. He's a little bit younger. Was he 28, 29? Severson? I can't remember.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
But he's UFA. And I think with our depth on defense, with Luke Hughes, who people are talking about might be here by the end of the year, Nemec, you've seen a Hotuk, who, may not come out to be your number one pairing, but I think he could be a very solid
hell of a bottom
pair.
Six.
Oh yeah, man, or third pair of defensemen that can really, once Brendan Smith's another one, right? Is he a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal, Brendan Smith? I'd have to look at that.
I believe a 1 year.
Just had cap.
Oh no, it might be a 2 year.
I think it's 2 year. He may have a player option, maybe, or there's an option.
I'd have to go to Cap Friendly and check that out. But he's someone who, Brendan Smith, he might be able to replace that bottom line kind of defensive defenseman, who's going to provide a little grit. Where is Brendan Smith? Yeah, he's 2 years. We signed him for 2 years.
Okay.
At 1.1. I mean, that's a steal.
That's
right
a steal.
There. That is a steal.
As long as he doesn't.
As long as he stops taking stupid penalties, yeah. Or you know what though? In his defense, and maybe you could attest to this as a goaltender. Is it easier to stop a breakaway or to stop a not a shootout, a freaking penalty
shot?
Because you think because a penalty shot, you'd rather take a breakaway. It looks like every time there's a penalty shot, it looks like the guy overthinks the penalty shot, just like they do in a shootout. Whereas in just a breakaway, it's more of a quick reaction, where it feels like it's more of a natural reaction.
All right, so I'll give you this. With the breakaway, you're right, it is more of a quick reaction, and you're going to be able to kind of play with the flow of the game a little bit more. Everyone's the new current trend with these penalty shots is to be all cute and go really wide and come in really slow. I would just much rather have you're focused in the game, you're in the moment. I'd rather a breakaway that's in the moment of the game versus just you versus the player who's going to take their sweet time coming down and try to be all cute, because that's just trying to outlast the goalie. I would much rather the breakaway, because you're already in that mindset of here it comes, I'm going to stop it. I would prefer that than any day.
So, all this trade talk got me thinking about the last time we were on the podcast together on a Sunday night. We brought up the possibility, and I'd like to stir the pot with this one, because I don't think it will happen, but you never know, is the possibility of Jesper Bratt being traded. I'm going to bring that up again, and I'm going to bring that up again just because I put more thought into this. Thinking about him getting traded, it's probably, like I said, realistically, it's not going to happen. But the team gets painted into a corner where they're doing their due diligence. They find out through his agent, not even through the player, but they're talking to the agent, and they're getting to a point where they're like, all right, no extension is going to happen. They're going to test free agency because he feels like he's going to get way more on the market than he can get from the Devils. He's not going to give the Devils a discount, anything like that. This is all speculation. This is nothing that we've heard. I'm just making up a story, a scenario, if you will. Hang in there. It's a scenario. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a scenario. If that scenario were to play out and Devils knew that they had to get rid of him, or not had to, but had the option to get rid of him, do you think they try to move him, or do you think they would hold on to him knowing that they would lose him at the end of the year? Knowing the chemistry that he has on this team, knowing what he brings to this team, because that's a hard question. You can't. I mean, his production is something that you cannot really replace. So let's just say in a scenario of like him definitely not coming back to the end of the year, it's a foregone conclusion. He's already told his agent, "We're not coming back. Either I'm sticking here until the end of the year, or." But I'm just saying. Yeah. Okay, so logically you'd move him, right? But then you'd have to move him and be able to.
If that's what he says.
If that's what he says. This is all hypothetical.
Yeah, if he says there's no way I'm coming back to New Jersey, then obviously you move him. But I think
he has another year. Yeah, another year.
He's restricted, I believe. Yes. Yeah. So I think Bratt wants to be here, but he wants to get paid. I think it was a smart move by Fitzy, bringing in his little brother as well, keeping it in the family. And showing, the interest and like, hey, we're in the Jesper Bratt business Peter? Over here. Jesper Bratt, excuse me. If I was on ESPN Plus, he would be Jesper Bratt.
Bratt, getting some brats.
Jesper Bratwurst
and a beer.
But I think Jesper wants to be here. I think he's a integral part. He's an integral piece of that core. Too. And I think they want to lock him up for the long term. That's just my opinion on the matter. And that's another place where the Tatar thing comes in, because Tatar's got that $5 million there. If you lose Tatar at the end of the season, that's some money you can then push over to Jesper Bratwurst. Mm-hmm. And like as we've seen from our good friend Gary Bettman, don't expect that cap to go up. Because it ain't
not next year, but the following year it's supposed to. But the only reason I'm saying that is, in my heart of hearts,
salaries aren't stopping though.
Yeah, I don't think
salaries aren't stopping going up.
No,
I know. I don't think that Bratt's going anywhere. I honestly don't think he is. I think that he's going to stick around. I think they're going to figure it out. It's just it's like around this time of the year. It's also kind of nice because we're in that position where we're more than likely going to be buyers than sellers. So starting to think of different possibilities. And yes, I do keep forgetting that he is an RFA, not a UFA at the end of the year. Like I keep forgetting that, but still, like there's the possibility that
so
if they know something, they might move him, but I doubt it. Highly doubt it.
I think part of what's going to benefit us as a team is us making the playoffs this year. If we had a repeat or just a little bit above better than we had last season, I think it would be a tougher sell. But with the way that we're playing this season, with how far ahead it appears that we are, I think it'll be easier to tell some of these guys, like, listen, we're like right there, and your potential of winning here is pretty damn good. So you might want to consider either A, going for maybe a little bit longer term, spread the money out, or B, even go a little bit less than what you might get in the free agency market with your potential of winning within the next 5 years, which we have that potential of doing. I think Sam's prediction is 2025, which isn't too far off. Had we had a repeat of last season, I think it would be a much tougher sell. But I think we're in a much better position being a winning team this year and looking like a solid winning team, not just like they kind of won a couple games here and there, but like being a really solid team that's finally coming together. The team that we've talked about, ad nauseum for the last bunch of years, we're finally seeing that. And now that it's finally here, I think that that's going to be the key to being able to keep these players and to potentially get a little bit more favorable contracts for these guys, because it's like, listen, look what you did this year. And look at we're on the upswing. We're not far. You want to win? The chance to win here is pretty solid. You can go risk it somewhere else, or you can stay here. Let's be smart. Let's not put our hands in the cookie jar too much, and let's go out and win this together.
Yeah, and I see some talk over here. Everyone's talking about Val and Ted and Max and Shane and Supernova. Yeah, the Pavel Zacha, good for him. Boston gave him some money. Good for him. But yeah, I mean, Pavel Zacha is not having like a great phenomenal year. He's only got like 5 goals, and the 5 goals, were all bunched up in pure streaky like Pavel Zacha fashion. They're not like spread out or anything like that. It's just one quick spurt, and then that's basically it. And yeah. Right now, Eric Haula's not that far behind him anymore, Look out. Hot Haula coming through. He's got
holla.
Who was it last night with the holla back girls? I can't remember who was given the super chat with the holla back girls. But yeah,
that'd be a great,
we'll see what happens.
That'd be a great, like the Puck Bunny, like everybody's got that little supporter section. It's just the hollaback girls instead of the judges' chambers at Yankee
Zach
Stadium.
Addison, that's right. It was old Zach.
The hollaback.
Yeah. But I mean, funny. Zacha. Yeah, I mean, someone wrote it on the YouTube live. He was a big player who Shane. He was a big guy who played small, and I think that goes back to the he had a nasty head injury before he was even drafted by the Devils. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw that video. It was scary. He went backward. He fell backwards. He slammed his head on the ice, and it was a nasty, nasty injury. And I think that definitely had an effect on the way he played out there for a while. You could see when he kind of got more comfortable, but he's very streaky. He doesn't play very big. Honestly, I feel like Haula plays bigger than Pavel Zacha, and Haula's like half his size, So I'm happy with that deal. I thought, what the hell? Why can't I think of his name now? Who was our assistant coach from last year? Why can't I think of his name? Now all I think of is Rick. No. Recchi. I keep thinking Rick Tocchet. Yeah, Recchi. I keep thinking Rick Tocchet now because that's Sam Wu called him a Neanderthal the other day for eating crab legs. So I'm like, oh, great. One more person that'll never come on the show. But Recchi he was like, oh, what a terrible deal. Zacha's a much better player than Eric Haula is and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they're not, I don't think they're that. I mean, Hala is really solid defensively and in that face-off circle, and he kind of plays a little bit bigger than Pavel Zacha, and the points really aren't that far off.
And again, if Jack likes playing with him and he's able to pick up that defensive slack so that Jack Hughes is a little bit more free, I think that that's worth everything to allow Jack to just go do what Jack wants to do. And you have Hala there to pick up the pieces defensively.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give us the best of Jack Hughes to allow Jack Hughes that freedom to do what he wants to do.
Jack,
and Pavel Zacha in Boston, that's just less money for Pasta. I don't know. I'd be focusing on old Pasta.
Possibility.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, oh man, can you imagine bringing that guy in? Woo,
oh,
baby. Now,
I know there's a lot of people that are like, "There's no way, there's no way." And I'm telling you what, if this team keeps trending up in the upper, going up and still being this young, landing a guy like Pasta is not out of not out of the question.
And
damn,
just like
insane.
That's why I said earlier, we're now in a position where we can start commanding these players to be like, listen, take a little bit less and you're going to win. That's what we've wanted. We're not trying to convince players to be here. We're going to become a destination team because of how we're going to keep playing on the upswing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by the way, Val just brought up a great point because somebody was asking if Bastion is definitely closer than playing than Marino, and Val said they're both on the road trip, so they must be getting close. That is usually a good sign. They don't bring them all the way to the West Coast.
I think Bastion was in a regular jersey and Marino was in a non-contact jersey last I saw. So that's really good. So that would be Bastion is much closer than Marino. If Marino's in a non-contact jersey, he is not quite there yet. He's just kind of getting his fitness. If Bastion's in a regular jersey, that means we could, potentially maybe see Bastion tomorrow or even against Seattle. And what is Seattle's Thursday?
Seattle.
So
we could use them in Seattle. Yeah. Seattle is hot. Dude, they are crazy hot. They put up 6 goals in the first period
on
against
6 shots.
And
Chicago.
Against Chicago, yeah.
6 goals on 6 shots. I'll tell you what, if I'm that goaltender and I've let in 6 goals on 6 shots, I got to tell you, my head is like, you don't want to see the minefield that your head becomes at that point. It's like, oh man.
Oh, I mean, that's what's crazy about that game too is like the Blackhawks were on a winning streak. And I know the Blackhawks are at the bottom of the league and they're not that great, but they still have a lot of talent on that team.
They're still
the fact that the Kraken came in there and smoked them. Like the Kraken are not the Kraken of last year. The last year was like, all right, we're figuring it out. This year, damn, they figured it out. They have a very similar record to.
They should have smoked the Blackhawks. I think it's more impressive that they shut the Bruins out 3-0.
Yeah. I think so too.
That's more impressive.
They're a team like the Devils. They're really dangerous on the road. So hopefully catching them at home is going to be to our benefit. But they're a dangerous team. And and that's the thing too is that you would look at that at the beginning of the year, you'd be like, oh, that should be one of those easy W's. Like go on this little West Coast trip, take care of business. Nobody thought the Kings would be where they're at this year. Maybe they're a little ahead of schedule. Like. I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
We were the ECW.
You look at teams where you can't really predict what's going to happen, and I feel like that game against Seattle is going to be. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. Jack Hughes' revenge game. It's going to be because did he play him last year, or did he miss that second game because he was still out?
That's a good question. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But what I will say this is I think Seattle is definitely a place that the Let's Go Devils podcast needs to go on the road. If it's a favorable game next year on a weekend, I think the Let's Go Devils podcast travels to Seattle. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm looking for any excuse to go back to Seattle. I haven't been there since 2006.
I got a place to stay. I got family out there, so we could
any excuse.
I got a place we could stay for free, so we don't have to pay for a hotel or nothing. That'd be pretty sweet.
There you go.
Make it happen.
Hey, I actually wouldn't. Peter's asking you a question there, Crew. His name is And. Crew is his last name.
And Crew.
Yes.
And crew.
Yes,
You
and
guys
is
doing
and
AW
and
February 25th.
Yes, we
What
are.
about fans from the podcast? Who's going? Yeah, dude, we'll be there. And crew will be there.
And Ann's crew will be there, and it's his cousin Jay crew that's out in Seattle that we can go stay with.
That's right.
Yeah, I got a good buddy up in
I like
Seattle
that,
too,
Peter.
actually.
Everyone is crew. Hell yeah, man. What's that?
I got a good buddy up there in Seattle too, actually. My friend I used to work with, my boy Tom T-Dubs. Yeah, he's up there in Seattle. So yeah, we all got some family and friends out there in that region.
Supernova's got a brother out in Seattle. Maybe we should do next year. We should do a Devils takeover of a Kraken game.
If it's a favorable date, absolutely. If it's a favorable date, absolutely. Sammy and I are talking about potentially doing that later this season in April.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially going out to, nothing announced yet, but potentially going to flying out to a game and doing some.
I would love to go to. I would love to go to a Toronto game and go to the game, and then the next day catch the Hockey Hall of Fame, or vice versa, whatever. Whatever the time lays it. But I've always wanted to go see a game in Toronto, and maybe we should do a live podcast from the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Well, you know what would really help.
We do have it in.
You know what would really help all of this? Getting that private jet.
Yeah, sure. Jet setting around the country, catching games and doing live podcasts. Yeah, that would definitely help.
And every time I bring that up, I hope Sam has that graphic ready to go, but he never does. So I'm just going to keep bringing it up.
The guy, the coked up pilot. A coked up pilot.
Sam's asleep from being up so late in these West Coast games.
Oh,
wait, hold on. OMI just said that. Just a reminder, everybody, we're going a Devils meetup in Nashville at Nudes Honky Tonk on Tuesday, 1/26/23 at 4 p.m. before the game. So if you're in the Nashville area,
great.
If you're in the Nashville area,
down there on Broadway,
Nudies Honky Tonk, Thursday, 1/26/23, 4 p.m.
Nice.
We're gonna have the ambassador of the Let's Go Devils podcast family, OMI, down there representing.
Absolutely.
So check it out. There's going to be a huge get together in the wonderful town of Nashville, Tennessee.
City of Nashville. Nashville was a good place. I would love to go there for a hockey game. I went there for soccer. I'd love to go there for hockey.
All right, Shorts guy, I got a question for you from Max. He says,
What's up?
Winnipeg, Chicago, Washington, or Boston? Chicago makes the most sense because of Mr. Parisi.
For what?
I don't know. I'm just reading what it said.
Winnipeg, Chicago,
Mr.
Washington,
Parisi.
Boston.
What?
I thought Zach Parisi played in.
Max, what are you asking?
Yeah.
They make the most sense for what?
Maybe to go to a game, like an away game.
Okay. Actually, one of those cities is yeah. I know what he's talking about. Yeah. Max, I get it. You're right.
Chicago and Vinny. Oh,
Chicago.
that Parisi.
That's
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
I'm like, doesn't Zach Parisi play for the Islanders? What the hell am I doing? What's going on here?
Yeah, that was my first thought. Actually, yeah, Max, it's it is the potential for that Chicago game because it is on a Saturday and flights are not stupid expensive. So, yeah, Sammy and I are kind of looking at that. That potential, but again, planning phases, thinking about it, it would be a ton of fun. But yeah, so Chicago is really the Chicago's it. Although I wouldn't mind going to Winnipeg and then maybe in the same weekend see if Comeback Kid is playing a show somewhere in town in Winnipeg since they're from there, and just go mosh in a foreign nation for a little bit too. Would be
April's a good time.
Nation. I'm gonna go to a foreign nation. Maybe they have water I can drink. and mosh around in a local show.
April's
I would do it.
A good time to go in Chicago, not February or
January
not now. Or March. It'll
Not
still be a
when
little chilly there, but Chicago's a great town.
Hey,
Going in there, Center
Max,
City is amazing.
Max, I would if I do make it to Chicago, I would love to try the pizza beat just to say I did it. It's for some reason I haven't gone to Chicago yet. It's one of those cities that I probably should have gone. It's a
You never
city
been
I
to
probably
Chicago?
No, I should have been in
Oh,
Chicago
great town.
in
Scotty.
2015.
Great
Never
town.
been. Never been. Oh, no.
I should have been in
I
Chicago in
figured you had been there
2015,
at
but
some point.
I should have been there. Like I said, I should have been there in 2015. I don't know why I didn't go. Oh wait, I was an idiot. That's why I didn't go. It really would have. It would have been a much better night had I gone to Chicago when I should have gone to Chicago. Just put it that
Yeah.
way.
What do they have? What's the Magnificent Mile? I think is what it's called there, right down in the center of the city. Dude, there's so many good bars and like venues, and you just stay in like the center city area. It's really
the Red Bulls
nice.
won a trophy in Chicago, and I should have been there, and I wasn't. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great town. It's a good sports town. I know I've been there. I saw a couple of Blackhawks games. The Madhouse of Madison. Went to a Bears game. I worked a couple of events there. A lot of Paloozas.
When the
there
hell were you
year.
in Chicago for so long? In the time that
I've been there like three. I've been there like 3 or 4 times.
Really?
Yeah, I've been there like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Actually,
it's on my.
Actually, went to the Bears Giants game in Chicago. It was great. You walk through Millennium Park. The whole city just shuts down when the Bears play, and everybody walks to the game through the park. You got to walk by the big Natural History Museum with the dinosaur skeletons outside and everything like that. It's a really cool thing. And I remember afterwards, they had like Jimmy John's guys out there like tossing sandwiches out there. I was like, free sandwich? Are you kidding me? Like, you want turkey? You want ham? I'm like, give me both, buddy. Come on. I'm like hammered post-football game there. It was a Thursday nighter,
Nice.
Woo. It's a good time, man. Really good time. But yeah, they got what's the big chainy one for the deep Giordano's. I went there. I think the original what's the name of that pizza place?
Uno's.
There's a famous pizza. It's like the very first one though. I can't think of the name of it. Oh man, I can't think of the name of it. Yeah, Giordano's. That's a good one. No, but there's Pizzerina Uno. The very first Pizzerina Uno is in Chicago. What?
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. My audio, you must have cut out. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. You got that restaurant at the top of the that building that's like way up there that you can look out over Lake Michigan, which looks like a friggin' ocean. It's so huge. You got the Navy Pier and everything, man. Wrigley Field. You go down to Wrigleyville, which is just like a line of bars and everything. You drink those old-fashioned beers.
OMI said
Scotty's opened up
Wrigley's
tourism for
good
Chicago.
time,
Harry, and like Harry, hey,
Let me
hot dog. Let me tell you something. If you were a hot dog, you'd be my favorite. I'd be your biggest fan. I don't know. I'm not Will Ferrell. I wish I was.
Yeah. If you were a hot dog, which one would it be?
If you were a hot dog,
would you have chili on it? Something like that.
Would it have relish or chili? You go to Harry Carey's restaurant. The House of Blues out there too is like this dome, this like little dome in the middle of the city. It's really, really badass. I don't know. I like Chicago. I had a really good time every time I went there.
Yeah,
I've only been to O'Hare.
He's been to the Emerald Jewel of Chicago.
You want to know about torture? You want to know about torture, though? One time I had to go there. I had to work the Fare Thee Well Grateful Dead shows, the last ones that they put on. Oh, dude. You know me,
that
man.
Must be miserable.
Oh, patchouli.
Jeez, every song was 25 minutes long, and I'm just like, oh, my God. Get to the next song already. Oh.
Will this misery never end?
Oh, man. And they do the drums into space every single. I'm like, oh man, 3 nights, 3 nights. I had to work 3 nights in a row. Those shows. Oh, the hippies everywhere. Oh man.
Oh my God.
I didn't know what they were doing. You know what they do? They put their finger up. And they like walk around with their finger up. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They pointing to Jerry Garcia up in heaven or something like that? Like, what's going on? They're like,
no,
that means they need a ticket. No, it means they're looking for a ticket. They're looking for a handout. I'm like, freaking hippies. Friggin' hippies.
Seriously.
Always looking for a ticket.
Similar
bunch of hippies.
similar type of sounds, but not the same. When I was in high school, someone gave me a Fish CD and was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this. This is great." And I listened to it and I was like, "Ugh, this is terrible."
Well, Trey was actually
Why?
he was doing all the vocals and stuff. That was before they got what's his name, John Mayer. Trey was the one who filled in for Jerry on those Fare Thee Well shows. Oh man,
Ugh,
3 of
so
those. After
terrible.
the first night, I was done, and then I was just like, "We got 2 more of these? Oh my god!" Ah!
875 minutes worth of music you have to just suffer through.
I'm just not a deadhead. I'm just not a
Yeah,
deadhead.
neither am I.
I'm not into the jam
Nope.
bands. I do like some
Give me
metal
a-
epics every now and then. I love Typo Negative and stuff like that. They got long songs, but the 25-minuters,
Give me-
oh
No.
boy.
Give me 2 minutes and 30 seconds or less. Just power through like 15 songs in 15 minutes.
That's what
You
I'm
know.
used to. Yeah.
There was a thrash hardcore band called X-Files X from the Boston area, and my buddy bought the record from the record release, put it on, listened to the whole side A, and then flipped it over, put it on side B, and it was nothing but static. It was like 22 songs. They wrote 22 songs, recorded 22 songs, and it's like a less than 15-minute record. So like you listen, it's great. It's great. I love that record. It's phenomenal. But I just remember him telling me like, yeah, I flipped it over. It was nothing but static on the other side. I was like, oh, it's because they
You just get like a grindcore band. The 53 songs and it's an 18-minute album, you know?
Yeah, it's like on that they have 2 songs on that record. One is 6 seconds and one is 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And I love
Sounds
that
like,
record. That record is awesome.
Who was that? Oh, it was that Suicide Machines that just had that song. It was like punk, and that was it. That was like the entire song. That was it.
My friend, oh yeah, my friend's band wrote a song like that when they were in the studio recording their 7-inch, and it's like a 6-second song, and the lyrics are just being straight edge makes me better than you. They wrote it there on the spot, and they recorded it, and that's on the 7-inch.
Oh man. Well, I think we're running. Holy heck! It's already 1:15 over here, Samu. How you doing?
Wow.
Sam
I'm
fell
doing
asleep,
it.
dude.
Yeah, I told you,
I'm doing
Samu
fine.
fell asleep a while ago.
Yeah, I fell asleep. So are we gonna wrap it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Oh man. Well, final thoughts from me is, hey guys, 10 out of 10, and that's the points that the Devils can get on this, West Coast swing. Don't go. Tomorrow could be one of those classic trap games because the San Jose Sharks are not a good team, but the Devils are out here on the West Coast, different time zones and everything like that. But it's an early game. It's a 1:00 start out here, so it's a 4:00 on the East Coast. So hopefully it doesn't screw them up too much. But don't take the Sharks lightly. Go out there like you did with the Ducks, like you did with the Kings, like you did with the Canes, and put the nail in the coffin. Keep that pedal to the metal. Don't let the teams get back into the game like we did against the Rangers when we didn't bury them and we let them come back. It was the start of our little downswell there for a bit, but we let them be in the game. They ended up tying it, into overtime and all that. These recent games, the Devils have been putting that nail in the coffin. Don't give this team a chance. Anaheim, you had 3 goals in the first period. You could have packed it in there. No, you put a 6-pack up on the board. Keep that drive going. Don't give these teams chances to have their little, miracle run over here or their big game of the year kind of deal. Because San Jose ain't making it to the playoffs, okay? So bury them. Bury them. Don't give them any opportunity and keep that momentum riding high going into, arguably, I think the Canes are probably the toughest team they're going to face on this swing, the first one. But Kraken
Seattle.
are right up there as well.
Seattle.
They are right up there as well. So bury the Sharks. Don't even give them an opportunity, and then ride that momentum into Seattle. Keep the Legion of Doom, Road Warriors going. put those shoulder pads on with the spikes, and make it 19-2-1 on the year. Let's get a win in San Jose for our 18th road victory, and let's do it again in Seattle for our 19th. And think about that. If they do that, 19-2-1 on the year on the road.
Nice.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You said everything that I was going to say, so I'm just going to say, and crew agrees. As the crew will typically do, they support the lead, and crew agrees. Let's go, Devils. And
your theme song could be Motorhead's "We Are the Road Crew." That could be your theme song from now on.
There you go.
Crew agrees. We agree. Roll on. Continue.
I'm going to say I'm going to say something similar to you, Scotty. I agree. Go out like you did against Anaheim and the Kings, because now that we have the record for the best road start, teams are going to want to topple us when we come into their building. So just be wary of that. Be wary of that, because now we are the bulletin board. Oh, look at these guys! F these
Good
guys!
point.
They are the top road team. Well, let's put an end to their party. So we have to be a little bit extra heightened in how we take these road games at this point, because I hate to say it, but it's not going to last forever. We are going to lose on the road at some point. I hope it is not this week. But I'm also very pleased that we got those 2 points against Carolina. That, to me, was the most important game of this trip. Don't falter against the Sharks tomorrow. And, again, keep motoring through, because we are now the team that people want to stop on the road. So just be wary of that. It does feel good.
Feels good.
And take advantage of the Canes and Rangers losing today.
Absolutely.
And yes, Shane, we should get Sam some of the Legion of Doom Road Warriors shoulder pads with the spikes, so he can wear them at all times. with the Giants Hutch helmet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll go into Lincoln Financial Field next week with that, and then just tell all the Eagles fans who's boss. And then Sunday's podcast next week will be postponed.
A memoriam to you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fights always follow me. I'm a fight magnet at football games. That's why I don't go anymore.
Live from the jail cell at the Lincoln Financial Field, Sam.
From underneath the stadium.
I need some super chats for bail money. Come on, super chats.
It would be more like live from the wake of Sam Wu.
I think Sam would be upset if we didn't podcast from his wake or his funeral. So we would have to do that.
Mrs. Wu would have like a gigantic party for you guys. You guys would be, anyway.
Who's going to be singing Dust in the Wind?
No, I don't know.
Like old school.
I'll do that.
All right, final thoughts. I want to wrap up.
And crew to help support.
We just did them.
I haven't done mine. Oh yeah.
So you're up. Go.
All right. So thank you for all those the rate, review, and subscribes on our Apple Podcasts. We've been getting reviews pretty much every day. So I want to read one from Wheels on Devils. These guys do a great job of breaking down each game during the post-game report. In between games, they do a great job at keeping us up to date with all the information that we need to know about the Devils. Thank you, and thank you all those fans that are rate, review, and subscribing to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Please keep doing it. We're now went from 4.2 stars to 4.5, which is nice.
Nice.
Nice and respectable after we got, spammed by a couple of haters. And I'll keep on reading those reviews on our podcast as well. Also, February 25th, the 500,000 party. We are approaching 500,000 downloads. February 25th is the game the Devils are playing the Philadelphia Flyers. We're going to be at American Whiskey. American Whiskey has been notified, and they're all gung-ho for a 12-hour affair of just big party, pre-game, post-game, during the game, maybe post-game, and all that kind of stuff. So mark the calendar. I know some fans have messaged me that they're actually going to fly in for that game.
Nice.
Just for the party.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And you'll
Let's
be
do it.
greeted
Party,
by
party.
and crew at the door, where I'll take your coat and give you a ticket. Please make sure you don't lose that ticket because you will not get your coat back.
He's also giving wristbands and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
so yeah.
Checking
That'll be
the
his job.
IDs with that little flashlight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky,
look at
he'll
you,
draw
and
you a
look at
little
your face.
caricature before you leave.
Hey, don't push it. Don't push it. My services are not for free. I'll take your coat, but I'm not drawing for you. That's going to cost you money.
Well, thank you to all those tuning in, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, dropping the podcast at midnight. Game Day Live, special time, 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and Devils After Dark after the game, after the Devils take on the San Jose Sharks. And also
afternoon.
Yeah, and also a Hockey on Tap podcast following Devils After Dark as well. Well, thank you. Till next time, let's go Devils.